Hello, everybody. We're speaking. It is season 7, episode 44 of Radio Labyrinth. Coming up later in the show, we have 2 guests this week. We have Bryan Silverbax coming on to talk about some of his projects and also his appearance at Kusicon this weekend. Well, actually today, if you're watching and listening on the 5th. And then an old friend of mine from the Regular Guys days. He's been on this show before. Vinnie Booch will be joining us to talk about his comedy nights that he's producing up in Kennesaw, and also his video where he ate the car for Adult Swim online is now available on YouTube, so we'll get down and talk about that. In fact, Larry Wags is in that. It's all on YouTube, and we'll talk to Vinnie about it later. Coming up in a couple of days. Oh, first of all, first things first, I got to thank everybody who came out to the Halloweeny bash at Atlanta Pizza and Gyro. I have to thank Mike and Kim Hall for hosting us, and Mike for working so hard, making the pizza and the food for everybody, and the folks who came out and brought desserts for us. Jeff Lau made the brownies that were so good.
His daughter made them.
Okay, well, he brought them.
He brought them. They were good.
They were good, and the handful that I brought home were pretty good. Jeff made his famous Ritz cracker cookies, a little twist. Those were also very, very good. Gil did not like them for some reason. I gave him one. He threw it on the ground.
He didn't like marshmallow.
Who knows what he likes and what he doesn't like yet. He likes pumpkin bread from Starbucks a lot. And if you go through the drive-thru with him in the morning, when I take him to daycare, I'll get a coffee. He'll freak out through any drive-thru. So you only have to give him a little treat. And just everybody came out. It was nice to see people. And we're going to do a show. The next time we do an appearance like that, we're going to do a live show where we record it, and hopefully we have guests there so we can make it fun and interactive. And that's going to be our next project. We don't know when we're going to do it. Maybe not Christmas. I would be cool if we could. So we have like 90 days. No, not even that many. Like 35, 40 days to put it together. But it would take us, we have to get the right equipment and make sure that it sounds good. And also we'd have to have video. So you can see that it's quite a project. But anyway, it was nice to see folks coming out and having fun. And it was a Sunday. So we were watching football and eating and talking, and of course we did our little drawing on the poster board that Bryan and Fuchsie drew on, and Tim Allen's son drew on there. So thanks to everybody again.
Falcons won.
Oh yeah, the Falcons did win, but nobody cares. Falcons win. I don't watch a lot of reality shows, and there's a reality show on the TLC. Remember when that was the Learning Channel?
Yep.
And then that little pig girl, what was it, Honey Boo Boo? I mean, you learned a lot about that. You learned that Honey Boo Boo liked to eat spaghetti with butter, and that they had a big pantry full of fattening food, and they were the pride of Georgia for a couple of years. Well, the Learning Channel is no longer the Learning Channel and hasn't been for a long time, but it is TLC, and there's a show on there. What's the show called, Jeff?
I Am Shauna Ray.
And who is Shauna Ray?
She's a 22-year-old woman who has pituitary dwarfism, so she looks like she's 8 years old.
8 years old. Okay. Now this show has been on this is its second season that is on.
Yeah, the second season just premiered last night.
Just premiered. Now, I didn't know anything about this person other than I've seen memes on Reddit, 4chan.
Yeah, I'm sure those guys are having a field day.
Not necessarily nice, but I've been seeing them for a long time. But I never really looked into it because I didn't know. I mean, I don't care about those kind of shows, but you watch it, and then you told me that her stepfather has some sort of connection to me. How is that?
I think he's related to you. He's adopted also. So
his adoptive father is my aunt and uncle, my mom's cousin.
Right. So you're a cousin by adoption or whatever. I don't know how you do that. Genealogy gives me a headache.
Well, I mean, there's no blood relation at all, but I mean,
Right, but he's part of the McNaney family.
right, the McNaney
Your
family,
grandfather was John McNaney.
right, and one one of his brothers is this fella's grandfather, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah,
And yeah, and like, well, maybe his great grandfather. I don't know how these things work. I really don't.
yeah.
And
And he doesn't know that much about the family history either.
No.
Being adopted.
Well, his father Gary lives somewhere in the Midwest. I think maybe Chicago or something like that. But again, he's my mom's cousin,
Right.
and so that's kind of cool to have some. I was telling all my first cousins, or a couple of them anyway, and they were pretty much floored because they knew the show, and then he doesn't use the McNaney name on the show. And so you reached out to him, and maybe he'll come on sometime. He has to get
Yeah, I mean TLC has to approve all that stuff, so
yeah,
it's a lot of red tape. But I'm trying to get him on.
yeah. Well, cool. I look forward to talking to him, and
yeah, he's a cool guy. Like he's my favorite character on the show.
yeah, he's
He's in a band. He does a Neil Diamond cover band.
Really,
and he has a regular
awesome.
band also.
And where are they? Southeastern PA?
No, they live in Long Island now.
Okay,
they're from PA.
All right.
And he does puppet shows with these crazy puppets that he makes, and he's a cartoonist.
Yeah, he's a really good artist.
Yeah, he's a cool guy.
Does a little bit of that pointillism thing that you get from these fellas, the Friedman brothers.
Hey, you weren't supposed to open that. It's not your birthday yet.
Well, it's past my birthday. Today's
Saturday the 5th.
Really, it's the 2nd. But thank you, Jeff, for this book. Mavericks and Lunatics, Icons of Underground Comics, by Drew Friedman. And I love Drew Friedman's stuff. I love how he's one of my favorite artists. Look at that pointillism stuff. In fact, I like him so much that I wore out one of the original compilations that they did and bought a new version of it a couple years ago. Oh, now I can't get the song out of my head. I like to eat apples and bananas. Do you guys watch Coco Melon a lot?
Every day.
Yes, it is a good show.
Eeples and bananas.
Eeples and bananas. I was telling Caitlin, my wife, that when you die, if you go to hell, they just play Coco Melon on repeat, and they have your eyes peeled open like in A Clockwork Orange.
Yeah.
It's election day!
Good morning. It's election day across the country. Polls are opening on the East Coast.
Have you voted yet, Mr. Crawford?
Yes.
It's election day, Tuesday.
It is. Don't forget who to vote for on election day.
Election day. It's exciting. Have you voted?
I wanted to report to you first.
Yeah.
On election day, my mom and I got up really early, and together we customized 480 cupcakes.
Tell you, come election day, you can vote those people out of office and bring back respectability to this community.
So election day is on Tuesday, November 8th, all over the country.
Yeah, where's your sticker?
In my car.
No.
Yeah, I voted, but I left the sticker in the car. I take a picture of it. I don't want to wear it.
You're supposed to wear it proudly on your forehead for the next 2 days.
Most states will know the outcome of their election on Tuesday night, unless you're
not Pennsylvania.
Not the state where Jeff and I grew up, where they can't seem to fucking figure out how to do a goddamn election. Well, we're gonna have to wait 8 days because stupid. Get your shit. What is this? Romania? I bet you Romania could do a better election. Iraq could do a better election than the state of Pennsylvania. So get your shit together, Pennsylvania. You're about to have a new senator who can eat rocks with his teeth and can climb tall buildings with a single bound. That dude is big. You ever seen him next to his wife? Like pictures of him next to his wife?
Dr. Oz?
Oh, Dr. Oz isn't going to win.
Yeah, he looks like Shaq next to his wife.
Yeah. Yeah. And my prediction for that is that the governor who will win, the guy that's running, will appoint after the new senator from Pennsylvania resigns after he's sworn in, then his wife will take over. And she's a little Brazilian number, so something to look at when you're watching C-SPAN with your pants off. Usually I'm checking out Amy Klobuchar. But we don't talk a lot of politics. But tonight we're going to talk, since it's election day, we're going to talk about some of our favorite movies involving politics. Those could be comedies, dramas, horror movies. Is there a horror movie? Political horror movie? I don't know. Election day is on the 8th. Vote however you like to vote. But I thought we'd talk about a couple of our favorite political films. And let's see. I picked 3. Jeff picked 3. Dustin picked a couple. And I'll just get started if that's.
And remember, if you don't vote, we're gonna put a gun to your head.
Yeah, if you don't vote, we're gonna yeah. Gotta hurry up and wrap this up. The president's speaking later, and I want to hear him because he always delivers such good speeches. Yesterday, all right, I'll shut up after this. But yesterday he said he was talking about insulin and how the guy who invented it didn't patent it, so it couldn't be used to make money. It could be used to help people. And at the end of it, he goes, "Yeah, and I just talked to him. The guy died in 1941."
It seems like it was yesterday.
Yeah, that was just yesterday. He died in 1941. Anyway, make of that of what you will. We all know where we are nowadays. The 3 movies that I chose, I'll start with the first one. My favorite of all time is a movie that I've watched over and over again. And if I see that it's on, I'll leave it on and watch it again, is All the President's Men, which was based on a book by Carl Bernstein and Bob Woodward. Their coverage of the Watergate scandal, which began in 1972 with a break.
This is your favorite political movie, but you wouldn't let me pick Deep Throat as one of mine.
Well, Deep Throat isn't a political movie.
So, Deep Throat's in All the President's Men.
But they called it Deep Throat because he was on Deep Background, and the movie was popular at the time, so they culturally appropriated it into their thing, and they called the Hal Holbrook character Deep Throat. But Deep Throat was the first X-rated movie to go mainstream, and people were going to see it. Of course, everybody knows that. And if you haven't seen it, boy, all the people in it are hot.
Yeah,
it should be called Hirsute. Hairy people.
Yeah, Harry Reams is, isn't it?
I know he is. Our clitoris is in your throat. Wouldn't that be amazing? Anyway, so the Democratic...
You still wouldn't be able to reach it.
No, I wouldn't. I'd have to. The 1972 burglary at the Watergate hotel complex where the Democrats had their office was broken into, and people were arrested, and then it just kind of unfolded from there. The people that were arrested had worked for the CIA, worked in the State Department. They were people that were involved with the Nixon campaign, and we all know the story. But the movie is a good thriller. It's a political thriller. There's tension in it. There's so many good actors in it. You got Dustin Hoffman as Carl Bernstein, Robert Redford as Bob Woodward, Jack Warden plays one of the editors of the city desk editor, the Washington Post.
Jason Robart.
Well, yeah, but let me finish. Jack Warden played Harry Rosenfelder. Martin Balsam, who's a great actor, was Howard Simmons. Hal Holbrook played Deep Throat, who was the person that leaked a lot of the information. We all know that ended up being Mark Felt, finally revealed shortly before his death. And Jason Robards played the editor of the Washington Post, Ben Bradley. Very, very good movie. And if you've never seen it, I suggest you watch it. The book's good. There was a follow-up book. I have both of those and read both of those. I was, for a time, fascinated by the Nixon administration and Watergate in general. Not so much these days, although it did overshadow a lot of Nixon's accomplishments.
When are they going to reboot it to all the president's women?
They should.
Yeah. Spoiler alert, Forrest Gump, is the one that screwed all that up. So
yeah, he did.
Spoiler alert.
Right. Somebody's breaking into the Watergate Hotel. Think they got flashlights. Alan J. Pakula directed that movie. Let's see. My second favorite is relatively new because I just saw it maybe 4 years ago for the first time, and I've watched it a bunch of times since. It's called A Face in the Crowd, about a young radio producer named Marcia, played by Patricia Neal. She finds a redneck a folksy down-home redneck named Larry Lonesome Rhodes, played by Andy Griffith. This was 1957, so it was before he was known as Andy Griffith, but he was, the Andy Griffith Show. But he was also a touring comic. He would do stories, down-home types of things. Very smart, intelligent guy. And she finds him in a drunk tank, and he becomes a popular media figure. And there are parallels between him and sort of this character in Donald Trump back in 2015, 2016. He becomes a huge star. He makes a lot of money selling vitamins. The director, Elia Kazan, a very known well for making political films and a lot of things like that. But Andy Griffith plays Larry Lonesome Rhodes. And of course, it's the only movie where Andy Griffith says, you don't like it? Well, I can call Tim Andrews with such and such Ford. And so my name is mentioned in that movie. Not me, of course, but my name, which I think is cool. Well, you don't like it? Well, eat a Ritz cracker. I'll shove it up your asshole. Patricia Neal is Marcia Jeffries. Walter Matthau, he's really good in it, as Mel Miller, and Lee Remick, who was hotsy-totsy back then. And then a movie that doesn't get a lot of talk anymore, but this was a huge, huge film when it came out in the late 90s, 1998. Primary Colors. Do you remember that film?
John Travolta.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Now, this book came out shortly after Clinton's election, and it was written by Anonymous. Because the person who wrote it was a journalist who was embedded with the Clinton campaign. A lot of parallels to the first Clinton campaign when he was running. John Travolta pretty much does an impression of him. You got Billy Bob Thornton doing an impression of, who's that guy to talk like this?
James Carville.
James Carville, yeah.
James Carville.
Yeah, and it's like just a little chunk of history from the 90s. You can watch this movie, and then if you don't know anything at all about the Clinton campaign of 92, you can go back and watch this. It was the first media. It was the awakening of Gen X politically. I'm sure that most Gen Xers voted for Bill Clinton back in 92. I know I did. Was excited. We finally we had gone through our teenage years and before that with Reagan and George H.W. Bush, and was like, yeah, we got one of our own. Well, he was really just a greedy boomer, but that's just the way things work out.
Don't blame me. I voted for Pat Paulson.
Yes. Well, so did I. I'm going to vote for him in 2024. We have the same two choices as last time. Better a dead guy than... Anyway. So you had John Travolta, Emma Thompson, who was playing the First Lady of Arkansas and the First Lady of the United States, Susan Stanton, who was, of course, Hillary Clinton. You had Billy Bob Thornton, like I said, Kathy Bates. She was a fixer. Her name in the show was Libby Holden. You also had Maura Tierney, who was pretty much ubiquitous in the 90s, and Larry Hagman as a Florida Governor Fred Picker, who they found out was they destroyed him because he was an old school liberal running for the Democratic nomination, and basically they destroyed him. So you can find all the allegories, and Paul Guilfoyle as Howard Ferguson. So those are my three. Again, Primary Colors from 1998, A Face in the Crowd from 1957, and All the President's Men.
Mine, I picked Election as one of mine.
That is a fun movie. I was going to pick that, but it's such a good, it's a comedy. And anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, just not really political as far as politics go, but it's about the election of the school president.
Mm-hmm.
And Reese Witherspoon's real good in it.
And Matthew Broderick.
Yeah, Matthew Broderick. And it's a fun movie. Dark.
Have you ever heard the theory that it's a sequel to Ferris Bueller's Day Off?
I've heard that, yeah.
Yeah. That was the only movie that I ever walked out of a movie theater for.
Really?
I didn't like Matthew Broderick's character. I don't know why. It was one. I don't know. Maybe it was just the time I was younger.
He wasn't a good guy, really.
No, he wasn't at all.
Yeah.
No, just I don't know, something about it. It was just it never clicked with me. And I've watched it again, like more recently, probably in the last 2 or 3 years, and it's a good movie. I mean, I was fine with it, but it was weird. I was like, man, this is not what they were. No, it's like the trailer sets you up for expecting, like a more of a less of a psychological thriller or psychological comedy than what it was.
Yeah.
Right.
But
well, it was directed by Alexander Payne, and based on a novel by Tom Perrotta, and it again is a creature of its time. It really hits a lot of notes. And how he ends up being happy because he's a museum worker, right? And Tracy Flick ends up getting everything she wanted by working in D.C.
Yep.
Being a lobbyist and working for a congressman or woman, I don't know at the end.
And there was talk of that sequel happening, but nothing ever became of it in the last couple of years.
They don't make comedy movies anymore.
They don't?
No. I mean, they do, but
no, they don't make them like when we were kids with tits everywhere and guys.
Number 2 was Wag the Dog.
That's a great
movie. Barry Levinson produced, directed.
Yep.
Dustin Hoffman, Robert De Niro.
Other people. That movie kind of set the stage for everything that followed. Like you thought after that movie was made that everything was fake.
Yeah.
It showed you how they could fake things.
Yeah.
But it was a good flick.
That was my number 2. And my third one is Idiocracy.
Yeah. I want to read that. Yeah.
That movie's taken over such a different look from
it's a documentary
5 years ago. Yeah.
It is a documentary that somebody went in the future and or found it in the future and brought it back so we could all see where we're headed. Welcome to Costco. I love you.
The president in that is hilarious.
Oh yeah. Well, I love that guy anyway.
Yeah.
Terry Crews.
Yeah.
Terry Crews. Yeah.
He's super funny, very talented actor, and he can make bad things good. Not that Idiocracy is bad, but he's been in things that suck, but he's good in them.
President Camacho.
Yeah, President Camacho.
Those are my 3.
Let's see. I only picked 2, mostly because you guys picked the rest of the ones that were worth watching when we're on in this topic. But 2 of my favorites. My first one is Dr. Strangelove, Stanley Kubrick, 1964. Peter Sellers. I mean, it's a classic. A Cold War personified with an out of control commander who thinks that fluoride in the water in America has turned everyone into a communist. and he's gonna go ahead and bomb the Soviet Union on his own, and hilarity ensues.
One prophylactic, one certified English Russian Bible. All right, that was what's that guy's name?
Slim Pickens.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, and him riding the bomb down. That was just awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Classic.
Gentlemen, you can't fight in here. This is the war room.
And my second one, again, another classic, probably the most classic, would be Citizen Kane. The classics, the story of a newspaper tycoon who was in his rise to obscurity by the end of it, and
his fall.
Throwing everything away for just a chance to relive his childhood that he feels he lost.
And who was that case? Chris Hardwick's grandfather by marriage.
Who?
Oh, really?
William Randolph Hearst.
Oh, he was?
Yeah. Lydia Hearst is his granddaughter.
Well, the Rosebud is supposed to be someone that he was in love with, Clit. Not the sled. I'm not lying. It's supposed to be. I don't have time to Google it right now. But that was the thing, and that's what pissed off Hearst the most, is that Rosebud was his Clit. Agnes Moorehead plays the mother at the beginning who gives up her son, Agnes Moorehead, also known as Sam's mother on Bewitched. But she's
okay.
And groundbreaking film. I think the dolly shot was invented. The moving dolly shot was invented because when you see him going from room to room, he invented laying down the track and moving the camera along with the action that was going on. I'm sure he didn't invent it, but he innovated it.
Yeah, that forced perspective. He also did that. And if he hadn't created Citizen Kane, we definitely wouldn't have had any of the Lord of the Rings or anything Peter Jackson got huge from using.
Right.
But a classic movie, it fits the criteria. Only because of the scope of his life and everything that he, of course, being a big newspaper tycoon, it got him into politics and of course, like most, it only takes a little small thing to break him down, and that's a perfect example. But I'll at least try to watch it every couple of years, and I'm still amazed that the movie looks like a modern film. You watch a lot of movies from 1941. And you see, a lot of boring, things that aren't very interesting to look at. But Citizen Kane's like watching a modern film with all the innovations he used.
And it's beautiful.
Mm-hmm. For a black and white movie, especially. Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, that's it. Everybody, if you can, go vote. And it doesn't matter who you vote for, as long as you vote how you feel and it makes you feel good. And then if you're guy or gal doesn't win, don't get mad and don't claim that it was stolen, because those things are difficult to do and we all know that. And I'm just gonna leave it at that. But by the way, it was stolen from me. Just kidding. It wasn't stolen. Oh, or maybe it was.
Stop the steal.
Stop the steal. Text. I get so many fucking texts from you. Driving me insane. Text after text after text. Leave me alone.
They started calling me today.
Herschel Walker.
I got like 6 different calls.
Oh, you did? From Herschel Walker?
No, from just different people.
Hey, Jeff, vote for me. I'm going to come a rep. Oh, I could get in trouble for doing that impression. That's one thing about this election cycle. I can't do impressions of some of these candidates, because one of them had a stroke and I would not want to make fun of. I mean, I did all that in my 30s when I was doing the Dick Clark impression. And looking back on it, I cringe when I listen to it because it's not funny. I mean, it was at the time. And the reason that it was okay to do is because he was still doing the new.
Yeah, I mean, he should have retired.
And but now I'm in that window now, and I'm past the age of 50. And
you don't want people making fun of you after you have your stroke,
right? And I'm sure they will.
Hey, Erick, how are you?
My son will lift my wallet out of my. Anyway, I don't like to foreshadow bad things. But I could do Herschel Walker's voice. I've already done it, in private. I can't do it on the air, but it would be fun to do, especially if he makes it to the Senate.
Did you do it when you were working with the Cobb County Police?
Yeah, he arrested me, and I started doing my Larry Munson, and he laughed and forgot he arrested me. Speaking of the dogs, rest in peace, Vince Dooley.
Yeah.
Atlanta Pizza in Gyro, who had us out and fed me for 2 days because I took home a large pizza, and it's still good a couple days after you get it. They are our longest sponsor, and we appreciate Mike and thank him for everything. Stop by Atlanta Pizza in Gyro and grab an ice cold draft beer or a beer in a can like Wicked Weed's Pernicious IPA and Tantrum Brewing's Poems at Midnight Sour Berliner Weisse. Sounds like a Mozart song. On tap. If you're a business or corporate client who's looking to book a food truck for your next private event or catered luncheon, please contact Mike Hall at AP&G by calling 770-483-6228. And they're open Monday through Friday from 11 to 9, Saturday 12 to 9, closed on Sundays, but they are open for dine-in and takeout. 770-483-6228. And I cannot forget our second longest sponsor and a very cool guy indeed, Brett Perkins. If you have a commercial or residential construction printing need, then you need to call Brett Perkins, or actually the company, LDI Repro Printing of Athens, in Athens, Georgia, since 2005, almost 20 years, with fast turnaround and affordable prices. Call 706-316-9366 or email them at athens@ldiline.com.
.com.
Views. Or.
Snooze. Jeff, what do you got for views and snooze?
Last week was White Lotus, Inside Man, and Blockbuster on Netflix. I've only watched White Lotus of those.
I haven't watched that yet, but we're going to watch it tonight or tomorrow.
White Lotus was kind of boring. I mean, it was all set up.
Yeah.
And it was a little fun stuff, but it was a lot of exposition.
Yeah.
I think it's going to start getting good now after the first one, but I was kind of bored.
Barbarian.
Yeah, we all watched that.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I'm late to it, but not as late as I was as Yellow Jackets.
All right, this week's Titan Season 4 comes back on HBO Max. That's the DC Nightwing.
That's a snooze for me only because I haven't watched all of them yet. I'm going to get to it eventually because the first couple episodes I watched in Season 1 are really good.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah, I haven't kept up with it.
And this
Haven't
week...
or have?
I have not.
Okay. Yeah, same here.
You need to get back into it. It's very good. Weird, the Al Yankovic story comes to the Roku channel.
Absolute views.
Yeah, it's a views for me. I already downloaded the app.
I wish he'd shut up about J.K. Rowling, but I guess they ask him that at every, because he's doing a press tour for this film, talking about Daniel Radcliffe, and they go, "Oh, you got to talk about fucking J.K. Rowling." Anyway,
well, he didn't talk about it for years.
I know,
he was the one. Yeah, well, yeah, it's the first chance they got, so yeah, they're going to corner him.
And number 3, Views News, Enola Holmes 2 on Netflix. This is that Millie Bobby Brown, Henry Cavill, where she plays Sherlock Holmes' little sister. Yes. The first one was good.
Yeah, the first one was good. I'll give it a views.
Yeah, I'm gonna views it too. I like
the real accent.
One. Yes, yeah, which is cool. Yeah,
and it's the original director, and everybody's back. So I think it'll be good. It's a views for me.
I ain't doing it.
You should watch the first one. Do what you think. It's very good. It's a very good movie.
How old was she in the
Surprising.
first?
Yeah, it was a couple years ago. So, was she 21 now? So she's probably 17 something.
No, she's only 18.
Oh,
she was 16. She was 16 when she did that one. Yeah.
Podcast math, Jeff.
Yeah, she was 18.
That old one. That was an Ira thing.
Podcast math.
All right. I guess we have some guests. So let's get to the guests. Who are we going to have first?
Silverbax. Is he in the lobby?
He is coming in.
All right. The last time Bryan was on with us, since then he's lost 2/3 of himself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So really a low carb diet, man.
That is the key, man. It works if you do it. It's hard.
So you laid off the nachos?
No. What I've done is I've taken the nachos and put them into a not an everyday category.
Okay.
Every day is the boring cauliflower and chicken. And then on the weekends, when you go do shows and stuff, then it's nacho time.
All right.
Well, Bryan, you're going to be at CUSACon signing autographs and selling your art and talking to people. And that is November 5th, which is today if you're listening to the show, or it was yesterday if you're listening on Sunday, or a month ago if you're listening on December. You know how all that all works. Let's do a quick rundown, though, since now CUSACon is in Rome. Jeff, do you have the address and where it is and everything?
Thornton Recreation Center, 102 North Floyd Road Park, Rome, Georgia, 30165.
Well, they have stuff going on all day. Kicking it off at 10 a.m., they have a silent auction all day with proceeds going to Open Door Home. You have the Artemis Bridge Simulator, which I guess is hosted by Command Flight Adventure. There'll be gaming, Dungeons and Dragons, a Super Smash Brothers tournament. There'll be a Walking Dead Q&A with Dustin and Jeff. And that'll also have a couple people from the show, right?
Yeah, 3 people that were walkers. They should ask Silverbax to be in that. He was in Walking Dead.
Yeah, but I wasn't a zombie, and I was only there for like a week. Those guys were like entire seasons of zombie goodness.
The creator panel with Ming and Jeff and Dustin. And I'll be manning the table. You can come see me and say hello.
You're welcome to tag in if you want on any of these panels.
Well, it'll be fun. I think we should try to record what we can. Cosplay registration for the cosplay concert, Sailor Moon mini concert, and then you have the cosplay runway and awards later on in the afternoon. So that's Kusacon. You can go to Kusacon. Is it .com or?
Yeah, Kusacon.com.
All right. Yep. But Bryan, you have some cool stuff going on right now on your Kickstarter. So
well, the Kickstarter launches on the 14th or the 15th.
All right. So
but it is a character that I've been holding on to for years. I have a comic book. So Tampon Man and Applicator Boy.
Yeah, I love it.
It's a very select audience is what I'm shooting for. But so the story behind it is a friend of mine came up with he used to do a lot of voices and he went to radio school. And he just got in the recording booth and made these voices for Tampon Man and Applicator Boy. And he took them on adventures. And I was like, dude, those are funny. So I drew some pictures of what I thought they looked like. And he said, oh, that's cool. So he did a couple of more. I ended up selling I packaged the whole idea up and sold it to a production company in 2005.
Wow.
They thought it was good. And I didn't know anything about the business. So I sold it for a flat fee of $1,000. I said, you can have the idea and everything I've got. And then fast forward to like 2019, 2020, when I was starting to do comic books and I was heavy into it, the production company reached back out to me and asked me if I wanted to buy my rights back to the character. So I did. And then, so now I've got a Kickstarter comic coming where you can also get like these little 3D printed figures.
Oh, that's cool.
Of Tampon Man and Applicator Boy, but it's not over the top grossness. Like it's really just dirty pun based humor. Like it's a lot of pun jokes. It's not overly like, oh my gosh, she's on her period, watch out. It's nothing. It's not that kind of book.
What's his origin, Tampon Man?
I don't know that I fully came up with that. There's so much to do. I just know that he's a superhero and he lives in Beverly Hills. And apparently there's different superheroes occupy different spaces. And this space is about to be taken over by a new superhero who can fly because he has wings. Like a and his name is Max Heavyflow. So Max Heavyflow is just going to come swoop in because Tampon Man can't fly. So it creates this who's the better superhero dynamic. All the while, there's bad guys. There's the Gonorrhea Gang. There's the Yeast Master. All these people are trying to take over Beverly Hills.
Well, it's a lot to absorb. I love puns, so I would love to read this when it's out.
Yeah, so on the 15th, it'll be live on Kickstarter. You can go to tamponman.com now, and it'll shoot you a message when it goes live. And for $5, you can have a digital copy sent to you when the Kickstarter's over.
Now, how did you get tamponman.com? You think with all the fetishes out there that would...
Well, I'll tell you what, I didn't get tampon.com.
No. I'm gonna go.
I just took a shot in the dark and it was available. So I was like, dude, let's scoop this up real quick.
So any chance of this being animated and voiced by your friend or producing a cartoon?
He's really hands off. Like he switched gears into his focus in life. So it's pretty much me driving the whole car.
Yeah.
But after this Kickstarter, based on what the response is for this Kickstarter, I'm going to try to put together, like if it's good enough and people want more, then I'll write more comics. I'll start doing short animation. I'll come up with t-shirts and figures and stuff like that. But I want to make sure that the audience is there first and that people really like what I'm trying to do.
I think they will. I think that if you like comedy and you know tongue-in-cheek type of stuff, and you're not offended by the title, which I think it'd be fine because it's a joke. Why be offended?
Yeah, I think you could make a fortune off the merch alone.
Yeah.
Yes.
like you remember the Big Johnson shirts?
Yeah. That's what I was thinking of. Yeah.
Like imagine the puns that you could put on there, but people have to, if they knew Tampon Man and Applicator Boy, it would be that much more enticing to buy.
Will the shirts be cotton?
They all have a little string instead of a tag in the back. Yeah. It's just a string hanging out.
They have an absorbent core that wicks away moisture. I get it.
Do you know what the levels are going to be?
Oh, yeah, I have it right here in front of me. So $5 will get you a PDF copy. $10 will get you a PDF and a copy of the book. And then the $45 gets you the copy, the PDF, and all 4 different comic variations for the different covers.
Nice.
But if anyone's going to support, I ask that you do it on the 15th, on day 1, because of the way Kickstarter works. The more traffic you get on day 1, the more Kickstarter says, oh, this guy's got something going on. Let's show it to other people. So the more traction you can get on day 1, then Kickstarter tries to help you.
So everybody go to tamponman.com. You can't
just click the notify me when it launches button.
I have done so. So I think everyone else should do that. Now, you didn't draw this, did you?
No, sir, I did not draw this. My buddy Chris Goings, who was at the last year's Kusicon. I don't know if he'll be there this year, but I wrote this story, and I was writing other stories, so I tasked this out for Chris Goings has a real animated style, like it really looks Hanna-Barbera, like that old school animation stuff. And that's not the type of work that I generally do when it comes to illustration. So why not bring someone else on board when that's their strong suit? You know what I mean?
Yes. I'm looking at his Instagram right now. He definitely harkens back to that Warner Brothers Batman and the Hanna-Barbera stuff. It's great.
Yeah, and his work is amazing. Like, he did the pencils, the inks. Oh, and by the way, there are original art pages that will be for sale through the Kickstarter. Like you can buy some of his original art, and I will have signed it and everything, and you can have an original 11x17 page of this book in your house.
All right, I'm going to buy his Herculoids picture because I loved Herculoids when I was a kid.
Yeah, but he's a good old school head.
Oh, yeah. Look at that. Awesome stuff. He's on Instagram, Chris Goings, G-O-I.
Goings, Black Sheep Studio, I think, is the moniker he uses.
Before we let you go, you were talking about maybe doing some work with did you
I'm not allowed to say that.
To pass your COVID test?
I passed my COVID test, but I will.
All that, Dustin.
I'm working on a project.
Yes. You might be on it.
Yeah.
We'll blur out Jeff saying that and then put a big beep in there so no one knows.
Oh, it'll seem more intriguing.
Right. Exactly.
Yes. Well, let us know when you can talk about it.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Hey, Spider-Man.
Halloween was yesterday.
I love that.
Spider-Man's still here.
That's all right. Look at that. Brian, thank you for coming on, man.
Yeah, I can't wait to see you guys. When this airs, we will have already seen each other, but November 5th is my birthday. So I hope you guys out and let's take a picture together.
My birthday is the 4th, so we'll celebrate together at Kuz.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, we'll see you at KuzCon.
We'll see you Saturday.
Adios, Tampon Man. I was saying is I love having Brian on. He's such a cool dude.
Yeah.
Speaking of cool dudes,
Vinnie Boochie.
There he is. Oh, hang on, guys. I just got another text from Trump.
Tour my plane, private Trump, Force One tour. Take a photo with me. Memories to last a lifetime. Only $100.
I want to type in stop and send it back and then not get any more, but it's also fun to get shit like that. I always reply, send me an autograph. Vinnie, how you doing? Vinnie Boochie.
Vinnie, great.
I've known you for a very long time now, going back to 2009, 2010? 2010. So that's 12 years. You've been on Radio Labyrinth before. Vinnie Boochie, for people who aren't familiar with the regular guy show, which most of you probably are, because that's why you would know who I am. But some of you aren't. And Vinnie started out as an intern, a stand-up comic brought in by a gentleman named Stephen Hague, if I'm correct.
Yes.
Stephen Hague, also a stand-up comedian at the time, a very funny guy. Vinnie, really quick with the jokes, good on stage. and did a lot of fun stuff with our radio show for quite a long time. And I think we wound up, I think right before everybody was let go, we were doing fun things like casting calls where we would trick people on Craigslist to come in, and Vinnie would be like the guy bringing them in, all sorts of fun stuff like that. But Vinnie, you've kept busy. You kept persevering as a stand-up comic, and now you are hosting a comedy night. And tell us about that.
Yes, I'm hosting a comedy night at the Anchor Bar in Kennesaw, and I happened to stumble upon this by accident because over the last couple months I've been kind of getting back into the open mic scene here in Atlanta. For a while I was usually doing a few private shows, like I was doing like corporate gigs and house parties and things like that. And I'd also been working in wrestling, doing commentary, ring announcing, and stuff with. I managed Buff Bagwell for a period of time. So after those things kind of came to an end, or at least briefly.
Hang on. You managed Buff Bagwell.
Yes.
Wow. I mean, that guy was a huge name.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So
that's pretty awesome.
Yes. Oh, it was. Definitely was. And so after all that kind of came to an end, I started getting back out there doing stand-up, and I went on the calendar. I saw there was the Anchor Bar. It was about 20 minutes from away. So I drive down there. I'm walking around. I'm like, okay, is there a mic? Is there a stage? There was nothing there. I got a tripod and everything. So I was going to tape myself. And this guy comes over. I found out he was the owner of the bar. And he said, can I help you, sir? I said, yeah, I'm here for the comedy show. He's like, what? He goes, a comedy show. He goes, I canceled that a year ago. I'm like, well, it's still on this calendar. So I showed him the calendar and I'm like, yeah, I was here to do some time. He goes, wait a minute, you're a comic? I said, yes, sir. He goes, can you sit here for a minute? I'll be right back. So I'm sitting in this booth for like 20 minutes. I guess, I don't know what he was doing. Then he comes back, sits down, asked about me. And I told him, what I'd done. I told him about the regular guys and doing stand-up and, all the other things I've been doing. And after a while, he decided to bring the comedy show back and said, hey, man, I think I want to get this comedy thing started again. I'd like you to run it. So I was like, cool. So like I went down there I thought I was going to just do 5 minutes of comedy. I end up running a whole showcase. So we sat down, worked out a time, and November 3rd is going to be our first show. And just like before, I've named it Booch Fest, which is the show that I've used in the past. So I got to announce Booch Fest is coming back. We have our first show November 3rd, and our second show is November 17th. And if things go well, it'll be a bi-weekly show. So like every other Thursday, there'll be stand up there. So I'm very excited about it. I've got
now the third will have passed by now, but so 17th, do you have a lineup yet, or do you not know? Do you just do you just say, hey, come on out if you want to do it, or do you have people signed up already?
I have a few people. One comic, David H.T. Rosen. He used to be part of a comedy duo called A Jew and a Black Guy, which is the actual name of their group. Yeah. And he's going to he said he's going to come by on the 17th. I got this girl Kimmy T who's going to come by. She wanted to come for the first show, but she had to go out of town for a show in California, but she said she's going to fly back and she'll be here for the 17th. I'm hoping Jerry Truman will make an appearance. Jerry Truman.
Let me interrupt here. Jerry Truman was basically your sidekick guy on the regular guy show, but also funny. And he had a lot of interesting, very eclectic, I guess you'd say, routines. But Jerry was a cool dude. So that's cool.
Yeah. So I got a few people that are signing up, but it's a show up, go up for the comics. Like I told them, if you come by, I'll put you on the list. But if people tell me in advance, hey, I want to come by, it reassures me. I prefer if people would message me, but if I already have like 10 people and like 5 others show up randomly, I ain't gonna turn them away. But So I do have a few people that have said they're gonna be there, but it could be anybody's ball game.
Well, if you like live comedy and you live in that area of town, go. I mean, even if you don't live in that area of town and you got nothing to do, why not go? But live comedy, support local, support live, go out, support a local business, and support Vinnie because he'll get to keep doing it. And he may not have to show you where the the rubber gloves and the garbage bags are.
I know.
Tell everybody off, dude.
Tell everybody the name of the venue again, just so they can find
it's the Anchor Bar, restaurant sports bar. It's located at 2708 Town Center Drive, Kennesaw, Georgia 30144 is the address. So it's right by the Town Center Mall.
Any of the wrestlers you worked with do stand-up comedy?
As far a few of them do. I know there was one indie guy he used to be part of a tag team called the Washington Bullets. His name is John Williams. He did stand up. He was one of the first comics I met. When he found out I was a wrestling fan, that's one thing we bonded over, because he was doing a lot of indie stuff with his brother while also doing stand up on the side. I know that obviously, some of the big names like Mick Foley does stand up. Roddy Piper, God rest him. He did comedy for a while.
Yeah.
And I know when I was working with him, Buff Bagwell was trying to get into doing the storytelling thing, because that's literally one of the things he's known for, is being a great storyteller, not just in the ring, but like whenever he did interviews, because he's lived a very crazy life, and it was stuff that we got to bond over during the year that we worked together. So,
are you friends with Scott Steiner?
We're cool. I wouldn't say we're friends, but
they don't hang out. But you talk to him. Does he still wear that ridiculous chainmail hat?
Sometimes to the ring, he does. He doesn't wear them. He doesn't wear them at autograph signings, but he's. And I will say he is a lot. He's one of those guys where he's definitely calmed down since the 90s, but he's one of those guys, like, as long as you're nice to him when you see him, he'll be nice to you back. But
when he started coming out, this is when he was in the Attitude Era in the WWE. When he came out all sweaty and whatever the fuck he was on, wearing, it's like he walked by like a basket and saw this, I'm gonna wear this metal thing. And it creeped me out, especially when he was wearing the sunglasses, and this was when he was going after Stephanie McMahon, and Triple H was, this is old time, you know what I'm talking about, but it's been a long time. And you and I talked privately the other day when we ran into each other. It's like, I'm so out of the loop with wrestling, but it still intrigues me. Like a couple months ago, who did I interview from? And it was Moose and Jordan Grace from Impact Wrestling. That's
Jordan Grace. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm familiar with her.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's still local wrestling. It's not just, WWE and TNA's gone. AEW. There's all sorts of stuff going on. And so more on that in the future. But there was a couple of things I want to talk to you about before we go. First of all, the movie, we had you on a couple years ago before the pandemic to talk about, you were eating a car.
Yes.
And you ate a car. And Adult Swim did a series about you eating the car.
Yes, they did. We had a film. It was a docu-film called Booch Eats a Car. It premiered on Adult Swim back in March. Once we were done, once we filmed it, we tried to submit it to Sundance. They didn't take it. So
they didn't. Why didn't they take it?
That your guess is as good as mine. They didn't like it, but we sold it to Adult Swim. They ran it for about 18 months. The only problem is they only aired it twice during the 18 months. It wasn't archived, so it kind of just sat in limbo, which kind of frustrated us at the time. Because they were even telling us, like, when it first aired, I was told by the head of Adult Swim it was one of the highest rated specials. They call it a special, one of the highest rated specials on Adult Swim. Like, it was like, it got a lot of attention. A lot of people loved it. But when the contract expired, we got the rights back. Cole Casal, who was one of the directors, came to me, and he still had the footage. And he said, I'm thinking, let's change this up. So we turned it into a 7-part docuseries, aired it in black and white, and added some extra footage that hadn't been seen. For example, the Radio Labyrinth fans will love this. The story Larry told about taking the doors off is one of the unseen footage that we put in there.
Okay.
So that's going to be in there.
Larry's not in the original movie, but he is in the docu-series.
Well, he was in the original movie, but it was more like when it shows the scene where I'm doing the radio publicity. Because when I went public with eating the car, Larry and I were still doing the sports show. So I gave Larry the exclusive.
Oh, that's right. You were on air with him for a short time on what station that was. Or,
at 1230 The Fan too. It was, we were there for a period of time. So right around while I was on the air with him, we had started the process of filming the documentary. So I thought, okay, when it's time to go public, let's go here. So, and that's when we revealed it. So you see the reveal, and that's so, So that's where we did it. But the car digging the doors off and the carjacking, that didn't make the final cut in the movie, but we added a small scene in the docuseries because it made us laugh. So we were like, let's throw something funny in there while we're doing this journey, because there's a lot of serious moments, but we try to make it, upbeat as well. So that's when we called it Booch and the Car. We had it on Amazon Prime for a while, had a pretty good run, and now it's available on YouTube.
So it's Eat a Car is the name of the channel.
Yes, Eat a Car is the name of the channel, and It's called Booch and the Car because we want to show people that it's slightly different from Booch Eats a Car before.
I think this is funny. So everybody, if you haven't seen it, it's fun watch. Just go ahead.
Are you going to eat a boat next or a plane? What's
I don't
next
know. Good question. I think somebody else already ate a plane, so I don't know if that
eat a tank.
Tank. I might go with a tank. I like it. Tank might actually be fun. I might do that one.
Go to Ukraine. Go to Ukraine, pick up one of those shitty Russian tanks that they knock out with slingshots, and then you can eat that. Sure. You're also and you have been doing this for a long time, the Boochcast. Tell everybody what that is about and where they can find it.
The Boochcast is on it's on Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcast, and the iHeartRadio app. That's where the Spotify seems to be the main place that everybody goes for it. And it's primarily, we talk a lot of wrestling on there. We talk mostly about NXT and AEW was where we decided to put the focus, because for Raw and SmackDown, I do another show with a friend of mine there, so to help them not overlap. Plus, when AEW first started, NXT and AEW were airing on Wednesdays at the same time, so we were kind of doing a Wednesday night war thing with it, where I had like a friend that was heavy into NXT and hated AEW. I had a friend who was heavy into AEW, didn't like NXT, so I had them on there for a period of time, and it made them more interesting. Then after a while, they both kind of left the show, so now my friend Zach jumps in and helps me with both of them. But we primarily focus on NXT and AEW. There's variety shows, episodes where we talk about randomly anything and everything. But also we do classic reviews as well. I have a friend, Gator Ricky Ross, he does independent stuff in Virginia. He actually is a booker for Virginia Championship Wrestling. And he comes on and talks about like some of the old school ones from like WCW, WWE, and ECW. Like just recently we did Halloween Havoc 97, or we might do Spring Stampede 99 or King of the Ring 98 or something like that. We look at the old pay-per-views, and what makes this different is when we look at them not just from the perspective as two guys who love wrestling, but we're also two people who work in the wrestling business. So because when I was a kid and I was watching these pay-per-views, I watched them like every other fan. But now that I'm older and I know more about wrestling and I have this wrestling brain that I can't turn off and it annoys all my friends, I decided to look at these pay-per-views with this old wrestling mind and go, okay, how many of these matches were actually I thought was good, but then I look at it and I go, wow, this match really sucked, or I'll look at a wrestler that I thought was really cool and I'm like, this guy just jumps all over the place. Or somebody I thought was really bad, I'm like, holy crap, he's better than I thought he was. So it allows us to see things differently. So it's not just us going match by match, like who won. We're analyzing why this match was good, why it was bad, and giving a little twist on it. So it's primarily wrestling, but I've also talked about a lot of other things.
And if you're a fan of Howard Stern and the prank calls that Sal and Richard put together, you can find it on YouTube. Who knows how long it'll be up there? They take them down, they go back up. If you go to YouTube right now and you type in wrestling show Joe Buck, you can hear clips of Joe Buck being used to prank Vinnie show, which used to be on Blog Talk Radio.
Yeah.
Now that one got national fame, and it is very funny. But before that, I pranked him, and I'm going to send that call to Dustin so we can put it in the show. Basically, just pranking Vinnie, dropping plates and silverware on the floor, and him thinking it's me. But I hid the number, and so it turns out Vinnie couldn't tell that it was me because I hid the number.
Caller number 3, you are on the Boochcast. Hello? Hello, ma'am?
Ma'am.
Hello? Okay. How you doing? Welcome to the Boochcast. Are you okay, sir? Is that bad reception, or are you smoking a bomb? What are you doing? Okay, going once, Going twice. I don't know what's going on here, but no, it's not him. Yeah, apparently Slim thinks this is Tim Andrews, but this is not him because I know it's not Tim Andrews because I know Tim's number. That's not his number. So
yeah, I think later on you told me it was you, and I was like, oh my God, I was wondering who the hell that was.
It was a fun call. It
was a very fun call. I loved it. I was just
mean or anything. That was the thing. Sometimes people would be mean or complain, and I was like, no. Vinny knows what he's doing. You guys just need to follow along because he knows what he's doing, and he did some funny shit back on the old show. So, well, man, I appreciate you coming on and talking with us, and
absolutely,
and keep us updated on the comedy night and anything else you're doing, man.
Absolutely, and I hope you guys will be able to come down to a show sometime.
Well, Vinny, take care. Best of luck. And like I said, keep us updated on what's going on. Okay.
I will. Absolutely. Thank you guys so much for having me on.
See you, Booch. You're welcome.
See you later.
All right, everybody. Thanks to our guests tonight, Bryan Silverbax and Vinnie Bucci. Make sure that you're supporting local comedy, local wrestling, local artists. That's what it's all about. Keep these guys going and check out Bryan's Kickstarter and support your local podcasts like Radio Labyrinth. You could become a Patreon member at patreon.com/Tim Andrews, and you can go there and see the tiers. Not my tiers, but the different tiers. It always reminds me that there are things to do, and maybe we'll do a holiday t-shirt this year. You guys gonna watch, before we wrap, are you gonna watch A Christmas Story Christmas?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Me too.
What are your buddies at 4chan saying about it?
People at 4chan aren't talking about it. I'm seeing people on Twitter saying, well, I see this is dumb. Blah, 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 blah. Fuck off. And where else are you gonna see a guy who went from being a kid star to a porn star to being an adult again, being in movies, right? I'm not talking.
He looks so old, though. It makes me feel bad.
Well, they all look old. Peter Billingsley looks good, though. He looks like
but I mean, he looks like an old man now.
Well, he is an old man, right?
Yeah.
He hasn't been drinking chocolate milk.
that means we're old too, though.
Well, I know that. Yes, we are very old.
That's what I don't like about it.
You look at Bret Hart. You know, the wrestler Bret Hart. He has white hair. He looks like an old woman with his hair. All right, guys, take care. We will talk to you next week. Remember to vote for whoever you like. Just get out and do your duty.
Go to KooshCon.
Go
listen in the morning.
Yeah, come on up. It's not that expensive and it's fun. So until next week, please remember to keep it canon.
Keep it canon.